Hey, I'm Ty Canelo, and this is my student success presentation. So we're going to start out the scenario, which is Ron here. And so Ron had a 3.3 in high school, was always pretty popular, so he never thought that anything would really get in his way. So then Ron, freshman year, decides to move out to Arizona State, and immediately he noticed that he had some things not go his way. Some of the people that he initially met, maybe his roommate, doesn't really matter who it is, but they led him to not do totally the right things. Excessive partying, drinking, instead of doing his academic assignments, which led his grades to sort of plummet and took him sort of on a spiral of misfortunes for him. This did have effects on obviously his academics thing. We can say 3.3 student in high school brought it down to around 2.0. So he had always been a pretty good student, so he cared about his grades, and he became very distraught about this. So it led him to some personal misfortune as well as academic. So the breakdown of Ron's problems for his well-being at Arizona State would be a lack of studying and preparation, a lack of knowledge about class material, and loneliness. So one of the big things here is a lack of studying. So one of the things about studying is that even if you do it, sometimes it's not effective. So one way that we could get Ron to start studying more is get him on the ASU tutoring program. And so ASU, they offer a very extensive and helpful tutoring program where, as you can see in there, that's the tutoring site where you can search for a specific class or subject, and ASU has plenty of tutors there that are willing to help Ron at most hours of the day. He can do this currently in a number of ways. He can do it online over a Zoom meeting or a socially distanced in-person meeting at Hayden. Tutoring sessions have, according to collegeexpress.com, have often be very helpful in turning up grades. So 8 out of 10 students will actually have their grade raised by tutoring sessions, as well as their test scores increased by around 12%. So when Ron starts to struggle, he can very easily pick himself back up with studying. And so one of the next problem is that it has to go with studying itself, but it's that Ron is not very knowledgeable about some of the things that he is learning about. As we can see here, this is the ASU library, and ASU has one of the better library programs in the country. As well as the tutoring, you can access this either online and in person. Many of you have seen Hayden Library or been inside it, so you know some of the things that it has access to. You can put in a search right here, and you can have access to almost any branch of information that you would need for your classes. From science to math, you pretty much have it all at your disposal online. So, but if you don't necessarily want to do that, then you can go to Hayden yourself in person and ask a librarian for help. And these librarians, they're obviously experts on the subject of knowing where to find information, and they should be able to help you out anytime that you can go down to Hayden. And so one of the problems that Ron started to deal with when he did become rather distraught at ASU is when he became sad, is that he started to separate himself from people, and this led to increased loneliness. And so ASU does offer a variety of ways to find friends that you can relate to or sort of get yourself an activity to do. One of the first ones would be intramural sports. So ASU does offer the Sun Devil Fitness Complex. It offers a great deal of sports, like from basketball, softball, ping pong. There's plenty of things that Ron can do to meet new people. So when you get to the intramural website, which is linked up right here, you can join a team. You can find a couple buddies and then join a team, or you can just join some individual things and meet people along the way. But anyway, when you get there and you go to your sporting event, is that you are bound to interact with people around you. You're bound to make friends, and if it's in a sport you're interested in, you can keep playing with those certain people. And it's a great way for you to just meet new people that share favoring a similar activity as you. And one of the also best ways that ASU offers students to interact with each other would be in student organizations or clubs that you can see right here. Ron, like everybody else, is more than one dimensional, meaning that he has more than one interest. So there's ways that ASU has to support that, which is having clubs that are ran by students, whether it's something, the bowling association, a political, maybe Ron prefers any sort of political party. I'm sure that we know that ASU does have clubs that would align with that he can, or a professional one himself. If there's a certain field that Ryan wants to go into and he wants to learn from other students and interact with them to grow himself, then he can join those organizations. For example, if Ron's we'll say Ron is an engineering major. You can see on the club website of all the clubs that you can join is that there is a ASU engineering club. And so that is one resource that Ron can use to increase himself. And so Loneliness Continued is that it is a personal thing, and many people do not realize how important this is to Ron's success at ASU. And so BU.edu, which is one of the better studying places for college students, or just college affects education in general, claimed that loneliness in college students can dramatically reduce their academic standing. And that is why it is imperative to break Ron from the cycle so he can get back on his feet. Is that loneliness can often be shrugged off, but in this scenario, as well as many other students in the country, is that when Ron enters this state of loneliness, then it is very hard for him to break out of it. And once he starts feeling lonely and his general well-being decreases, then he most likely will feel less wanting to do his homework or study for tests because he is feeling so distraught at times. And so it's very likely that Ron does reject or has some pushback to some of these things. One of the major reasons would be that he can't put his pride aside, or that when he's tutoring, or when thinking about tutoring, that makes him think about himself as lower than the tutor, is that he's seeking for help, and that might be a huge obstacle for him. And another thing was that he does not know anyone who has done it, so he's not comfortable getting tutoring for himself. One thing that I would do, or a couple things I would do, would get him to meet a tutor or somebody that has been tutored, just to share him through the personal experience of what it's like to be tutored. I've noticed it personally myself, and I'm sure that Ron could too, is that when you talk to somebody with experience with something, you become more comfortable in doing so. And it's very normal. A lot of students at ASU take advantage of these tutoring resources. As for intramurals, then I would take Ron to show him just a game or a match. One of the things that ASU does often is softball or basketball, is that you can take him, you can go watch a game, and you can see what the feel is like for it. So that is my student success plan. Thank you.